Hello, my name is Lazarus. I'm a Master Trainer of NLP and an Executive and Sports Performance Coach. What I'd like to do is spend the next couple of minutes just talking about a particular coaching session I had with a client, which helped her in the space of 2 hours to basically triple her own personal wealth. I'll be telling you some of the information, and then I'll also be sort of highlighting some of the key points. So I'm going to change some of the details, and including her name, just to protect client confidentiality. The principles that I'm going to tell you about apply exactly. So her name's Melanie. She's a managing director of a technology company, and she booked a couple of hour coaching session with me. When she arrived, she said that as MD, she thought her business was worth, well, around about 45 million, although she felt it was worth more than that, but there was some kind of personal barriers that were getting in the way of her sort of really thinking outside the box. So, and her stake is, let's say, 30% of the business, so her personal wealth was something like £13 million. So it's obviously a significant, a considerable amount of money. So we spent some time, maybe an hour, just, it's a first coaching session, so I just introduced myself, talked about certain key concepts, and we did some work around unblocking the initial challenges that she had. And within about an hour or so, we'd got to a point where she absolutely believed her business was worth 55 million rather than 45 million. So from her point of view, that's an increase in her wealth from, let's say, 13 to 16 million pounds, give or take a few pence here or there. So for her, that's obviously a really useful use of her time. And we booked a 2 hour session. We had a bit of time left. And I said, look, we could call it a day here. We could stop the coaching session. You've got enough, you got everything you wanted. Or we could just be a bit more creative and think outside the box. And she was willing to carry on the session, to sort of, to think outside the box. And we had about 45 minutes. And what I asked her to do is, I suppose it's a technique which, if you've studied NLP, you'll know as perceptual positions. What I asked her to do was to put herself in the shoes of the managing directors of prospective purchasers, because one of her options was to sell the business. So I asked her to put herself in the shoes of the maybe 4 or 5 or 6 companies that were possible bidders. And when she was doing that, she really sort of, what we call, associated into it. She really, if you like, became the managing director of each of these companies. And what she realised was that the value to these prospective purchasers, who are multi-billion pound companies, the value to them of her technology, or the technology of her company, was huge. It was huge. And not only that, the potential cost of it being sold to one of their competitors was even more huge. So what she realised was, for the prospective purchasers, the value could have been anything between sort of 125 or even 150 million pounds, rather than the sort of 55 million that would be the kind of value if you use traditional price earnings ratios or traditional valuations of companies. Putting herself in the shoes of prospective buyers, she realised it was worth about 125 to 150 million pounds to them. So in terms of her own personal wealth, instead of it being sort of or personal stake rather, instead of it being sort of 13 to 16 million, it was a lot more than that, probably near a sort of 35, 40, 45 million pounds. So from her point of view, those 45 minutes of, if you like, creative thinking really made a difference to her, a real difference. And I reflected on that, and there was some key learnings from that. One of the key learnings is how negative thinking can block creativity and can block creative thinking. So initially thinking it was sort of 45 million, whereas unblocking it helped her to get to sort of 55 million. And then the next key point would be the value of being able to think outside the box. So to actually put herself in the shoes of other people, to see it from a different perspective. And I guess one of the things that helped me to realise as well is the value of quality thinking time. Because generally, and this is a generalisation, generally in everyday hustle, bustle and pressure of work, rarely do we sort of take time to step back and think, okay, what do I want to achieve? Or how could I look at this challenge or this situation in a different way? Now, for some people it's useful to have a coach or an external person who can just bounce ideas off of them, who they can bounce ideas off of, or who can ask the sort of challenging, out-of-the-box questions. And even if you do it just by yourself, literally to go somewhere sort of different and just think, have quality time to really think about a situation, it can have really, really significant benefits. Certainly Melanie thought so. So I hope you found this useful. My name again is Jeremy Lazarus. Thank you.